Okay, Tom, the camera's looking good, sounding good.
Nice.
I was watching Ozark because the new season's out, and I just started watching some of that. And right
Uh-huh.
around 9 o'clock, the feed just got really bad. Like the it was all distorted. It was like really having a tough time tracking, and I'm like, what is going on? So I just, I hit pause to see if I could let it, boot through, and buffer or whatever. And I'm sitting there flipping over Facebook to look and see what's going on, and everyone's posting about the Elton John concert that's going on, I guess Hulu or whatever. So
Oh
I'm thinking,
God, yeah.
great, everyone in my neighborhood like jumped on the internet at 9 o'clock to watch Elton John, and it's messing up my watching of Ozark.
Yeah, as soon as like right before I went to the studio, I walked in from taking the dogs for a walk, and Bonnie's like, "Oh, all your favorite artists are on TV, and they're doing this benefit." I'm like, "All of my favorite artists? I don't think so." And she's like, "Oh, can't you just listen to what I'm saying?" I'm like, "No, all of my favorite artists. Come on." Ugh.
That's classic.
Yeah, yeah. Bruce Dickinson and Fish are doing a concert. COVID-19 benefit. Yeah, honey. That I'll tune in for.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. That would be really something.
Oh
So,
man.
I've got to share something with you guys. I'm so excited. I was put onto a new podcast this week, and this is not something for everyone, but damn, is it something for me. It's called Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, and this guy is not kidding. So the first episodes that are available, and they're labeled as 50 and 51 whatever, and it's called Blueprint for Armageddon, and there's like five of them, five or six.
Huh.
And the Blueprint for Armageddon, the guy's a heavy duty, I don't know if he's fully military, but it's all about World War I. I have World War II is more my jam. I've never, I've gone out of my way to read a couple of things about World War I just because it plays such a big role in World War II. These episodes are fucking 3.5 hours long,
Ugh.
and
Wow.
and it's phenomenal. The first one, so 3.5 hours in, and he literally just gets to the morning that World War I starts. I mean,
Wow.
it, but I mean, it sounds arduous and terrible. And like I said, it's probably not for everybody, but he's so good at it. You're just like, I mean, I think I was up till 1:30 Thursday night because I couldn't stop listening.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And I had a 6 a.m. meeting, but I'm like, I need to know what happened.
Oh my gosh.
So, if I have to be stuck in the house, for super long periods of time, this is probably a good thing to have discovered. It's really phenomenal.
Really? Strangely, the working from home thing has really hindered my podcast listening because apparently what I always thought was the case is actually true, where my job actually entails me just being on Skype and Zoom calls all day.
Hmm.
Doesn't really matter where I am. So the fact that I don't listen to podcasts at work have nothing to do with the fact that I'm in an office. It's just that I'm otherwise my ears are busy doing something
Well,
else.
sure. Yeah.
But I
And,
like
and,
the
and
sound. I like the sound of that though.
yeah, it's really good. I can't wait to see what else he covers. And I mean, as far as that goes, it's not like I'm listening during the day, but I've got, an hour at lunch that before was taken up in conversations with my buddies, and I have an hour to and from work, and so
Yeah.
there's plenty of places for other things to show up. So another funny thing happened. I'd shown you guys the picture of my guitars that had migrated down here to my desk in the TV room,
Yes.
and I hadn't migrated them all back up before the kids showed up. And I'm on the couch. I was playing Fortnite with Ellis, and I hear I hear from behind me Aiden go, "Hey Dad, what's wrong with this guitar?" I said, "Oh, that's my sniper."
Oh my gosh.
He's just like, "Okay, Dad, whatever."
Um, I'm trying to think of what the equivalent football gear is for Aiden to compare that to.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know.
because I've had similar conversations with like Luke and Nolan where they've said to me like, "Why do you need that guitar?" And I've just looked at them and said, "Well, why do you need that hockey stick? Like, really? What's?" Um,
So
So,
talking about gear though, Paul,
oh, yeah,
your
it's.
your home life is more enjoyable now.
I'll tell you what. My speakers were scheduled to arrive on like by the end of day today, right? So I figured, okay, I'll figure it out. And at 9:15 in the morning on Saturday, there's a knock at the door because it's pouring rain here, and there's a white truck out in front of my house, and there's this dude on my doorstep, and he's like, "Hey, I've got a package for you. I just wanted to make sure you were here because I don't want to leave it out in the rain." And I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "What do you have?" He's like, "Two boxes." And I was like, and I
Are they
must have
heavy?
had like I had only been awake for like admittedly about 15 minutes. So I mean, I must have just looked like a freaking idiot to this guy, just like staring blankly at him, like, because I wasn't expecting these things for like a whole nother day. And so I'm like, okay. And he goes out, and they weren't like packaged. They were just the regular speakers package, and
Mhm.
they're pretty, they're pretty big. I mean, they're not big wide, they're just long. And and so dude brings them in, and I was like, sweet. And then my stand showed up about 3 or 4 hours later, and I I I would have spent most of the afternoon setting it up, but Tom and I ended up on like a 2 hour Skype. we we got on and we just kept talking and talking. So like we finished up, and so last night I put them together, and today was great. I woke up this morning and I brought all of my CDs upstairs, and I went through all of them, and like I haven't like actively listened to CDs in in a long time. Like if I need something, I'll like go rattle through and grab things, but I pretty much have been just streaming everything. So I'm going
Right.
through all my CDs, and I'm like, okay, well, this is overwhelming. I've got like 200 CDs. I just don't even know where to start. So I'm like, I'm just gonna start with the Palaver. I'm just gonna go through all the bands that we've talked about, and I'm getting all my CDs out and set them up. So I got the CDs. I put them aside, and as I'm going through, I'm finding all of these wonderful little things that nuggets that I've got in here that I'm like, I need to spend some time listening to some of these records. So so things like Michael Hedges Taproot, I can't wait to
Oh,
just spend some time with that. And um, some of the other things that actually I listened to today, Presto, for whatever reason, I saw the CD, and I've got another story about Presto actually. But so I listened to a little bit of that. Tom, I found the exotic feeding CDs.
Nice.
So
oh,
listening to some of those for the first time in literally over 10 years probably, and
nice.
that was magical. But I've set some things aside, like I've got like Extreme Pornography 2. Like I can't even remember the last time I listened to that album front to back, so I set that aside. Um, Tommy, I found my two CD collection when they actually used to split it up into two CDs, um,
Mm,
of that to listen to, and several other items like Bob Mould's workbook. It's just things,
Oh
just
God.
exactly things like that I just stumbled across. But aside from the exotic feeding, probably the third favorite gem that I found is I found this blank disc that just had RNS rhythm written on it, and I pop it in, and it's basically Jay, Ken, and me playing Ken's really neat Squadron tracks, and it's just the rhythm tracks, and they sound fantastic. They are like ready to just be loaded into Pro Tools and like just overdub. And Ken's got his album ready to go. I can't wait to talk to him about it. It's so much
wow.
fun, and I'm listening to myself playing guitar, thinking I can't even play guitar like that today. Like I just it's not that I was doing anything that incredible, but just the fact that I was playing so fairly with some fair amount of precision. It was pretty fun to listen to. So, and I have some really fun albums on vinyl that I can't wait to listen to. Things I totally forgot about, like Point of No Return by Kansas on vinyl,
Oh, there you go.
and Duke and Abacab. I'm just excited to. So my turntable comes later this week, so it's been a lot of fun.
That's gonna be great. Excellent.
That was my next question to you, Paul. Is did you have a recent acquisition of a turntable? So that's on its way still. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
for some reason the turntable is making its transcontinental journey in a truck instead of by any other means of transportation. So it was shipped out like 2 days ago, and I'm just watching it, go across the country. So.
And what are you running that through? What do you have?
So one of
Just
the other things I purchased was a Sony receiver, 100-watt
Uh-huh.
receiver, and
Uh-huh.
my speakers are a 2 Polk Audio. I don't even remember what the number was, but they sound delicious. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So there you have it. So another fun thing happened today that completely threw me off. So my good friend Mike Fuda knows. I don't know that he really knows this guy. I think he met him one time. His name is Mick Bodine. I'll give him a shout out. And he sends me this, happy hour online concert that he did. And you guys may remember with our discussion around Rush that Mike Fuda was, is the guy who, if he's standing there with his guitar and you say, "Hey Mike, play me a Rush lick," he'll play something from like the very first album, right? He doesn't mess around with Red Barchetta or anything else. He goes right for Working Man or something like that. So he says to me, the reason he sent me this, he said, do you know the song "The Pass" by Rush? And
Oh,
I'm like, of course I do. It's one of my all-time favorites. And he's like, oh, well, you got to hear this guy Mick Bodine do a version of "The Pass" acoustic. And I was like, that's fucking genius. Who would ever think to do an acoustic version of "The Pass"? So he sends me the link. I go ahead and I watch, and I track through the video to try to find "The Pass," and I find it, and I don't even get through the first chorus. Like I listen to him do the verse and the chorus, and I like immediately put down my phone and go grab my guitar, and I'm like, I gotta figure this out. So I spent a good chunk of the afternoon working on my own arrangement of "The Pass," and and then before you know it, again, it's like 6 o'clock, and I'm like, well, maybe I should eat, tonight. And so it's been a joyous weekend of music for
sounds
sure.
like a good one. That's great.
That's awesome. What are you drinking
Uh,
there, Ralph?
This is a little bit of it's some I think it's some this is Basil Hayden tonight. Yes.
is that the appropriate Death Star Ice Cube by any chance, or?
It is not.
Oh,
Actually, I can't seem to find my mold. I
oh
don't
no,
know. I don't know where it could possibly be.
that's
I'm
that's tragic.
I'm thinking like I must have taken it somewhere. Like I just like how do you lose an ice mold? So were we using that the weekend when Total Mass Retain were over? Did they have? Did we didn't have any of those? I don't know what happened to it.
I don't remember.
It's amazing. It might be where all of my Marillion CDs are because I have
It
my
might.
Marillion collection. Tom, I was telling Joe earlier on the chat. I've got I've got like 5 jewel boxes of Marillion CDs, but no CDs to go with them. They're in some sort of case somewhere that I can't find.
Oh,
Boy,
well,
yes.
that reminds me. So I had gotten for Season's End when we were in Amsterdam
Mhm.
a signed copy of Season's End, and
Ah,
I immediately lost it. Like as soon as I got back to LA, for some reason I don't know what the hell happened. So for years I was looking for it. I was like, damn, where'd that go? And um, last year I sold all my CDs,
oh,
and I didn't even want to look through them. I just like gave them the boxes, everything, like all the imports. I just didn't want to deal with any of them. Um, and they were like, yeah, I can buy all of them except for this one. And they hand me the Season's End, and I'm like, oh my God, you found it. I'm like, they're like, well, we can't take it because there's no CD in it. There's actually no CD itself in it, so I can't buy it from you. I'm like, good. So and like so I took it. So I thought I lost it again, and lo and behold, I had forgotten. So a couple weeks ago, I'm going through my attic, and I found another box of CDs that I had just hadn't found. I hadn't gone through, and I'm going through them, and one of my CDs had like my cult CD had like the Marillion CD in the
mm,
Season's End. So I was
yes.
like, okay, good. So I swapped it out. I'm like, all right, I'm, I'm keeping this. I have it signed, and I put it next to my Tori Amos signed Little Earthquake CD. So I
Oh,
have,
Wait,
nice.
it's signed Little
uh,
Earthquakes?
yeah. I don't know. I can't even remember how I got it.
Dude,
I
I'm
can't
so
even,
jealous.
and it says
I
my
am
name.
so
So
jealous.
I don't know. It's just so weird. Like I can't even remember how I got it. I don't remember ever meeting her, but it says my name and it says her name.
Wow.
So I don't what the hell.
How do you
I
forget
mean,
meeting Tori Amos, Tom?
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
mean,
didn't.
you know,
It's not like I really did drugs back in the day. I didn't. So like, it's not like I, would have forgotten a
just one
moment
of
like
the
that.
the many damsels you've encountered in your life, I
Oh
guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my goodness.
Yeah,
Well,
but
good,
I was
John.
so
I'm glad-
happy to finally find that CD.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Sweet.
got it. That's awesome.
Sweet. So Joe, I have to ask because um, I've I forget what I think I was probably doing something on our YouTube page, putting the pre-show up, and I noticed your original video is a very beardless Joe Beauclair, the introduction video. So
Yeah.
I've been admiring your beard over the many months that you've been growing it out. I can't help but notice tonight it's just a little extra scruffy than normal. So
So
since
I
many
will
of us are sporting facial hair in the palaver, I'm curious about your general trimming and grooming techniques with your beard.
so, so I will say that with the quarantine or stay at home or whatever the hell you're calling it with our current quarantine situation, my hygiene is as good as it's ever been, but my general level of grooming is definitely a lot more lax than it used to be. So previously the beard would get a full trim like every 3 weeks or so, and even daily, like when I would go to work and I would I've got beard oil that I put on it and I brush it in.
Ah, I
If
was
there was
curious
a
about
stray
it.
piece,
Oh,
I would literally trim up individual little pieces to keep it all nice and neat. But now that
Interesting.
I'm not seeing anyone, I'm like, well, let's just see how mountain man-y I can get, and then I'll probably just shave everything. Who knows?
Interesting. Okay. Well, you're approaching mountain man, I think, right
I,
now.
I'm starting to get a little stuff hanging under the chin now, so I won't be Billy Gibbons by the time we're all said and done. But
So
um,
I am curious because I've been contemplating a lot about the very little hair I have remaining on my head and face, and I've never been one to just let the facial hair grow. Like I usually like to keep it trimmed pretty tight because it bothers me. And but with my beard, I really need to let it grow. And it was kind of funny. Same thing. I'd kind of let it go, and then I just went nuts and I trimmed it super thin
mhm.
recently. But one of the things that I'm curious about is like when you do let it go, the beard oil. I've never actually used beard oil,
Oh
so I'm
yeah,
curious.
it's
I'm curious about
important.
how it works and if you have a specific brand that you like.
Um, I, I had a specific brand that I did like. However, my barber apparently stopped carrying it at the end of last year, so I don't have it, and I don't know what it was called, but it was in this fantastic
Mm,
little blue bottle. Actually, I've got a beard oil that I have now because I had to just go somewhere and buy something else. I don't know what it is either. The problem is I really don't like the way it smells, but it does make
mm.
my beard much softer. So
huh.
it's kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Smelly beard oil is probably not a good thing.
Well, I mean, they all smell kind of manly, but
Well,
but yeah, it just
fascinating.
it provides some of the nutrients and oils that your facial hair doesn't normally have. So I mean, it doesn't make it soft like the hair on your head, but it's softer.
Mm, mm, okay. Interesting. Yeah. I when it gets warm enough where I don't need to put my heat anymore, I think I'm going whole hog and shaving the head. I think I might actually go to a barber to get that done though. Get it done right so I don't like,
Slice your
rip
head up.
my rip my head apart while I try to yeah, shouldn't be too hard.
So so yeah, it's
All right, very nice.
like I
All
said,
right.
I yeah, I thought maybe I could just shave it off because if I hated it, because when you get used to a beard and you're like, can you shave it off? And you're like, my God, you look weird. It could grow back before we're ever released from our house, but I
It's true.
decided to go the other way and just go Ben Roethlisberger on it,
Nice. Nice. Well, it works no matter what. It was a shock to see you on YouTube as a beardless man. I will say it was
which
pretty.
is which is funny because of the near 50 years of my life, it's only been about 14, 15 months that I've had a beard, but everyone
Yes,
gets so used to it so quickly.
it's so true. It's so true. Amazing.
All right, so
Indeed.
shall we talk a little Star Wars trash?
I think we should.
Just for
Let's
fun.
do it.
On this